All right. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another edition of the Cerebral Smack of the Wednesday Night Mayhem live on YouTube and StreamYard.com. It is going on the Meth, Michael Fletcher, alongside my good friends Anthony Florio and Michael Bullock. And tonight we are going to be diving into AEW, and we're also going to be diving into NXT. We got a loaded show tonight for AEW. This is the go home show to Fyter Fest. Fyter Fest will be going down next week, a 2-week event. Week 1 next week, week 2 on July 8th, and on NXT, a major title match here tonight as the NXT North American title was defended in a triple threat match between Finn Balor, Johnny Gargano, and the reigning champion Keith Lee. And the winner of that fight will move on to July 8th and face Adam Cole, as it will be the NXT version of the Ultimate Challenge. Title for title, winner takes all. So, with that said, let's dive right into AEW first, and we lead off with Wardlow going one-on-one with Luchasaurus. And Wardlow won the match. It was a lumberjack match in 9 minutes and 10 seconds. This was alright. This was a pretty decent fight. I don't think there was really anything I could really have gone more over. I think they did good. It was a big hoss fight. I think we all enjoyed it. It could have been a little better, but I'm gonna give it at least 2.5, close to 3. At the end of the day, Wardlow looked good. Luchasaurus looked good. Like I said, it was a be a man fight, which is always good to see. So nothing more to say. Anthony Florio, come on in. It's all yours.
Well, I'll tell you what, Matt. I agree 100%. This was definitely a 2.5 to 3-star match. I 100% agree. It was everything we expected and more, if I'm going to be quite honest with you. I mean, feeling that this was going to, be a great hoss fight, and that's exactly what it was here. And, good action throughout. And just give me 1 second here. Nothing about this recreated the wheel, but it was still a damn fun brawl to start the show. Luchasaurus and Wardlow are two massive big men who should not move with the ease that they do. They are perfect representations of the heavyweight division within AEW and have bright futures ahead of them. As the emphasis for the aforementioned Fyter Fest match, this worked. Wardlow scored the underhanded win, but essentially leaving nothing settled. That neither team really got the upper hand leaves a certain level of uncertainty surrounding the winner. When fans do not know what to expect, any product is better. So I'm just going to leave it at that. That was a 2.5 to 3-star match. I 100% agree with MF's rating. So nothing more to say. Michael Bullock, come on in. Let's get your thoughts on this opening matchup here tonight.
Yeah, I'll give it about 2.5 to 3 as well. I mean, this was a good match here. I mean, Wardlow getting the win here, and all the craziness that ensued after the match, involving, of course, MJF and Jungle Boy, and basically it was announced by President Tony Khan that that Wardlow and MJF would be going up against Luchasaurus and Jungle Boy of the Jurassic Express at Fyter Fest. So yeah, so there's really nothing more that needs to be added. So let's just move on, Fletch.
All right, and then we did indeed move on to the next fight of the night. The AEW Women's World Champion Hikaru Shida going one-on-one against Red Velvet. Shida wins the match in 7 seconds. Are you kidding me? I mean, okay. Obviously, this is a complete and utter dud. This is worst fight of the night. are you? I don't understand. Anthony, can you help me with the logic of this? I mean, you want to make the champion great. Okay, I get that. But you have her squash an opponent in less than 10 seconds? What the hell?
I'm baffled by that too. I mean, I really, I don't understand it.
I'm baffled as well. And here's the thing, Florio. I mean, I understand you want to make her look good going into that Fighter Fest for the. I mean, having her defend her AEW World Title against Penelope Ford, which to me, I get that Penelope Ford won, but I still, and this is another problem I have, and I don't know how you guys are going to feel about it. I mean, Penelope Ford is now going to be facing Hikaru Shida for the AEW Women's World Title.
And she got a leg up on her tonight when she jumped her after the match was over.
It was Shida who won. It was Shida who won that Ford.
Do you think Penelope Ford should have gotten the title shot right away?
Well, I mean, okay, here's the problem. Chris Statlander is injured, and she's out, and it looks like she could be out for a year or so. On top of that, the next person you could have thought would have been, maybe you can make an argument, maybe could have been Dr. Britt Baker. She's on the shelf. She ain't coming back until all out. On top, and then maybe you can make an argument, maybe for Nyla Rose to get another shot at the title, but the only logical person right now, I hate to say this, is super bad Penelope Ford. She's the only other person that I could think of that would be at least logical enough to be a contender for the title. So as limited as their roster is, and it is pretty limited, I have to give credit where credit is due. And I think, I hate to say this, Michael Bullock, but I think AEW did the right decision. I think to make super bad Penelope Ford the number one contender for the title, I think is not just pointless or unnecessary. I believe, in my mind, this is the most logical choice.
Oh, I'm not questioning that. It's just that, to me, I mean, yes, you beat the AEW Women's World Title, but it was the way she wanted that. I mean, you get where I'm coming from, right?
I think I know what you mean. It wasn't a clean victory. It was basically a backdoor victory that got her the victory. But apparently, in the eyes of AEW, that was enough to call for a championship committee moment. And here it is. And I think, and I hate to say this, but if you're a wrestling fan who loves AEW, I hate to say this, they pull the WWE. How on earth do you allow that to happen if you preach every time that records matter? How on earth do you allow Penelope Ford to be number one contender and award her the shot after what she did a couple of weeks ago against Shida? But that's neither here or there.
And Matt, if I may, I want to provide just a little bit more of some quick analysis on this.
Please go right ahead, Anthony.
Yeah, go ahead.
The match was secondary to heating up the rivalry between Shida and Ford. In that regard, it worked. Once the product of Ford scoring a win over Shida in the tag team match, it now has a bit more intensity behind it. The feud needed this, and the commentary to tout Ford as a legitimate threat to the gold. And it got both tonight. So that's just a little bit of some quick analysis on that. So nothing more to say. Shida and Ford should be interesting. Of course, obviously, I think we all agree Shida will go over. Ford's the next challenger of the month. And then once Shida gets by, the question then really becomes, then who? Then what? move on.
All right. I think Michael Bullock kind of put in his 2 cents, so I think we're good with that. There was a promo segment by Cody and by and Arn Anderson that led to Jake Hager coming out. As many of you guys know, at Fyter Fest, Jake Hager will fight Cody Rhodes for the TNT title. And then after that, we had a tag team match as it was Sonny Kiss and Joey Janela versus Brody Lee and Colt Cabana. And the winners of the bout in 8 minutes and 35 seconds was Brody Lee and Colt Cabana. And Michael Bullock, it's all yours.
Yeah, I'll give it about maybe 2.25 stars, maybe 2.5. It was a fine match. It really wasn't that much to write home about when it comes to this. I mean, I still don't know what's going on with Colt Cabana. What Mr. Brody Lee wants it to be a part of the Dark Order. So, I mean, still a lot to figure out. But Flex. But if I could quickly get back to that thing with Cody and Jake Hager for a little bit.
Please.
You forgot a little something that happened, and it was a press conference. That's what it was. But something happened like during that. It was Jake Hager's. I don't know if that was like his wife or.
That's his wife.
That was his wife. I mean, she butter that was there and literally tossed it right at Cody, and I'm sitting there like, oh no, you did not just do what I think you did. And luckily, Brandy Rhodes was held back because Brandy Rhodes would have gotten her paws on Jake Hager's wife. That's just a little something I wanted to address there. So, yeah, so there's really nothing more to say. Fletch, I mean, I don't know what's going on with this whole thing with Brody Lee and Colt Cabana.
Yeah, look, Brody Lee has been very vocal, or has, as the exalted one of the Dark Order, he wants to lure in Colt Cabana. And Colt is very reluctant, doesn't want to do it. And quite frankly, I don't want him to go into the Dark Order. I don't think Colt Cabana, his character, is even screaming for the Dark Order. But, at the end of the day, we're just going to have to wait and see how this plays out. And I like the storyline. I like where it's going. I could actually see Sonny Kiss and Joey Janela being the tag team. I think they would be a good fit. I thought the match was all right. I'll give this another 2.5 stars, 2.75. Look, the end of the match was not in doubt. The winners of the match was not in doubt. It was all right for what it was worth. And, we'll just have to wait and see. But it looks like the Dark Order is definitely circling the wagons on Colt Cabana, and they're trying to get Boom Boom to join with the Exalted One and the whole crew. I don't know if a heel Colt Cabana will work. I think I know they did it once in Ring of Honor where they had him as a bad guy, and he did all right. He did good as a heel. But he's so liked and so loved and such a lovable character. I don't see him being anything but a face, at least right now. I just can't buy. I didn't really buy him as a heel. I personally don't. But, like I said, I got a little more knowledge because I've gone a little more deeper because of the Ring of Honor days. So I got a little bit of a leg up on Colt Cabana more than Anthony and Michael Bullock. So that's just my personal opinion. Florio, it's yours.
2 stars. I'm sorry. I can only give this 2. Um, I enjoy the Lee and Cabana mix, if I'm going to be honest, because it's somewhat random, but not so random that it doesn't work. The match wasn't the best, but one could argue that they don't have tag team chemistry, causing some missteps. So nothing really more to say. Archer shows up, and that's really all there was to say on that. So, yeah, nothing more to say. I can only give it 2 for my taste. So, but now MF, I'm damn ready to get into our next matchup here. Oh boy, this is a Tony special right here.
It was a tag team attraction, guys. It was SCU, the original SCU. Frankie Kazarian and Christopher Daniels, they go up against FTR one-on-one tag team attraction. FTR wins the match at a total combined time of 12 minutes and 33 seconds. There's really nothing more to say. Fight of the night. This was amazing. This was awesome. This is what tag team wrestling is all about. And then at the end of the match, Hardwood got on the mic, and boy did he lambast the tag team division. He opened fires on the tag team division. Basically, it is what it is. This is what we were waiting for. FTR went the minute they debuted on AEW. You knew the battles that were gonna be raging. SCU was one of them. Omega and Hangman Page is gonna be another one. The Lucha Bros is one that they're gonna be looking forward to. But if there's one match, if there's one tag team that the world is ready to see, that is the Young Bucks versus this team, and we'll get it sooner rather than later. But they did announce at Fyter Fest there will be an eight man tag team match. The Bucks and FTR are going to team up, and they're going to be taking on Butcher and Blade and the Lucha Bros. That's right, Ray Phoenix and Pentagon Jr., and they will face off at Fyter Fest, and that could be an epic 8-man tag. Let's just say it right there. That could be a show stealer of a match. As far as my rating goes for this fight, 4 stars. I mean, I could go even higher, maybe 4.25, but this was really, really good tag team wrestling. And that's the key word, tag team wrestling, because that's what we got here tonight. Anthony Florio, it's yours.
Tony special right here. I mean, this was a technical tag team masterclass right here. So great to see Christopher Daniels and Frankie Kazarian teaming up again. It's the first time in a long time I've seen the two of them team up. I mean, I know how good those two are. I mean, going back to the Impact days, I mean, they were absolutely hysterical. Not only hysterical and as funny, but they were also damn good in the ring, and they had some damn good epic matches. I mean, and this was no exception here. What else is there to say that hasn't been said already? But you know me, I'm gonna throw some professor on this. As if the tag team division in AEW had not already been the best part of the company over the last 2 months, the Lucha Bros come along to remind everyone that it can always get better. Before the Lucha Bros made their return, FTR and SCU had a really strong wrestling match that reminded fans of Harwood and Wheeler's excellence, as well as the timeliness of Kazarian and Daniels. Those 2 seasoned veterans can hang with anyone today, and both look credible and make their opponents look even better. The idea of FTR and the Bucks teaming is a potentially combustible one that should make for some fun little storytelling points in the aforementioned 8-man tag team match at Fyter Fest. While they will be the focal point of the bout, and Phoenix and Pentagon will be their same explosive selves, it is the Butcher and the Blade that have the potential to make the most of this opportunity. This is that team's first major match of this kind. They have been utilized inconsistently and could firmly entrench themselves in the tag team division with a strong performance. They already impressed against FTR 2 weeks ago. Another similar showing could be the spark they need in order to move up the ranks and earn the attention of AEW officials and us fans alike. So there's really nothing more to say on this. This was absolutely amazing. This was the fight of the night, hands down. And Matthew absolutely nailed this one. I'm going 4.25 stars. I mean, what else is there to say? I mean, the near falls, just the overall action, just amazing. And I thought I was watching a throwback to an old TNA Impact match when Daniels and Kazarian, when they had MF. You remember the fun matches that Kazarian and Daniels had against AJ Styles and Kurt Angle years ago?
Yeah, I mean, those were the glory days of TNA wrestling.
And almost every time they got together, they were damn near 5-star classics, if not 5-star classics. And this one was on its way to being one, but it didn't get the proper time. I mean, another 5 or 10 minutes or so of that kind of action, this would have been 5 hands down. But 4.25 is, I think, the highest we can go on this. But this was the fight of the night. This was absolutely amazing. And I mean, it was originally scheduled to be QT Marshall and Dustin Rhodes going up against FTR, but QT Marshall came in contact with someone who has COVID-19, so he pulled himself out, and they decided to do and they threw in SCU, Daniels and Kazarian in their place, and not to be insensitive or anything, but this was actually a blessing in disguise, if I'm going to be honest with you. So absolutely amazing. Well done. So nothing more to say. Michael Bullock, the old revival against Daniels and Kazarian. Oh, I thought I was watching an old Impact Wrestling match with Daniels and Kazarian. I mean, they were so great as their tag team champions, especially those instant classics with AJ Styles and Kurt Angle. So nothing more to say. Michael Bullock, you really finally got to see Daniels and Kazarian. You finally got to see them do what they can really do. So Bullock, those two in the revival, how could you not be impressed?
Now, this was the definition of tag team wrestling here, and we saw it right here. 4 to 4.25, definitely the fight of the night. I mean, I'll tell you what, FTR, since moving to AEW, I'll tell you that they're taking this team seriously, and they could be heading right up there in the tag team division, and who knows, maybe somewhere down the line they could get a tag team title shot. So, yeah, I mean, both teams I thought looked real well. I mean, yeah, Christopher Daniels and Frankie Kazarian really put over it or looked good by FTR. So, yeah, there's really nothing more to say. So let's move on, Fletch.
All right, guys. So we're gonna indeed move right along, and the next thing that we had after the epic match, then we had Brian Cage versus Joe Cruz. Brian Cage wins the match in 1 minute and 30 seconds. As many of you guys know, John Moxley was not in the building either. It looks like he had a friend who contracted, that he got into close contact with somebody who had contracted the coronavirus as well. So he's sitting out tonight. And I'm probably guessing he'll probably not be. You don't really need him until Night to a Fighter Fest. Night to a Fighter Fest, he's going to be putting the AEW World Title on the line against Brian Cage. But Taz opened fired on him, saying the only reason why that you're not here tonight is because of the COVID-19. let me be frank with you. That's a bullshit excuse. You're running scared like a chicken, and you're just afraid that you're gonna lose the AEW World Title to my man Brian Cage. Perfect heel heat by the Human Suplex Machine, Taz, and I love that Taz really went there because that's the Taz I remember from the old ECW. That's the real Taz. In the AEW Taz that we're seeing reminds me of the Taz we saw in ECW back when they were fighting at the old ECW arena when they used to be shown on TNN for a little time. So nothing more to say. So we're gonna move right along. Then we had one match. It was Matt Hardy versus Santana. Matt Hardy wins the match in 11 minutes and 19 seconds. So who leads off here?
I think you do, Fletch.
It's me again. Okay. I think it was an all right. No. I started it off on the.
I stand corrected. Florio does.
Anthony. So it goes to you, Florio. So Matt Hardy wins the match in 11 minutes and 19 seconds. Tony?
Are you there, Florio?
Uh-oh. Florio? He might be having mic issues.
Ooh.
Can you hear me?
Yes,
I can hear.
Loud and clear now. 2020.
Okay. Okay. All right. What am I talking about?
Matt Hardy versus Santana. Hardy wins in 11-19.
I'm sorry, I can only give it 2 stars for the effort, guys. This was like this was the disappointing fight. Now here's the thing: Sammy Guevara was originally scheduled to be in this match, but we all know what happened to him, so no need to rehash on that. But anyways, some exposure in a singles bout, if only because that was an opportunity afforded to Ortiz a few months back. The effort was certainly there on both sides, but Hardy's place in the singles ranking with the win, this was fine. If not, one has to wonder why Santana could not have been given the win to put over the idea of the heels having the 2-on-1 advantage, especially since they essentially no-sold everything and executed a 2-on-1 post-match beatdown anyway. So that's really all I can say on this. So I can only give it 2 stars. Nothing really more to say. Michael Bullock, your thoughts?
Yeah, I agree with Florio. I mean, I can only give it 2 stars as well. I mean, yeah, the match was fine, but Anthony brought up a lot of good points about it. I mean, yeah, I mean, there's really nothing more that needs to be said. I thought he touched on it really well. So, Fletch, it's yours.
Yes, I agree with the 2-star rating. I think it was mildly disappointing. I think it should have been a lot more better than what it was. I really got nothing more to add here, guys. So then after that, we did have a segment at the end. Orange Cassidy and Chris Jericho. It looked like it was a promo segment to close the show. So Michael Bullock, you lead off on this one.
Yeah, obviously we all know now it's going to be Orange Cassidy and Le Champion at Fyter Fest. I mean, yeah, it was a nice back and forth with them, and then we saw a nice little brawl, and yeah, in the end, it was basically Orange Cassidy who stood tall on Chris Jericho, and yes, he was showing a little bit of blood, Orange Cassidy on the side of his head. So yeah, there's really nothing more to say. Fletch, it's yours.
like you said, it was a nice little brawl, nice little way to close the show. Jericho really did a good job selling Orange Cassidy and also selling the match as well. He was the consummate professional on this one. Did a really good job to say the very least. Enjoyable way to close the show. So nothing more to say. Anthony Floyo, it's yours.
Absolutely. Now I'm gonna be over the top excited about this because this was absolutely amazing. Take the hottest act in the company, program him with the most recognizable star, and let them beat the unholy hell out of each other in the closing segment of the Go Home episode of Dynamite. It is a formula that worked a tremendous effect this week as Orange Cassidy and Chris Jericho upped the intensity and made fans want to see their match in 2 weeks as part of Fyter Fest Night 2. The brawling was on point, and the physicality in the strikes particularly was great. Cassidy standing, bloody staining his white shirt while he looked on, seemingly unfazed by the entire ordeal, made for a hell of a show closing segment. Hopefully, the match can live up to everything Cassidy and Jericho have accomplished to this point with their feud. So, if I had to give the segment a rating, I would give it 5 stars and call it the segment of the night. That's how good this was. Damn good. So, really nothing more to say. MF, let's get into your final thoughts, and we'll start it off with you, pal. What do you say?
All right, and I totally agree. I thought it was a very good show. Very good way to close the show. Very solid. I liked it. I enjoyed it. And it was really a way to help everything up. So, no, I enjoyed it. And I really got nothing else to add. If we were doing an actual rating on this, I could give this solidly a 7.5, close to 8 out of 10. There was a couple of fights that were horrible. I mean, when you talk about Cheetah versus Red Velvet, I mean, come on. That's a major no-no. You cannot do a match like that. I get it. But that was the wrong thing to do. At least in my mind, that was the wrong thing to do. I didn't really care too much about the Matt Hardy match. Didn't really care too much about the Brody Lee and Colt Cabana tag team fight. So, I mean, it was good. There were some good elements to the show, but it wasn't like AEW really blew me away this week like they have in the past. It was good as far as like a go home show. It was definitely passable, no doubt about it. Anthony Floyo, it's yours.
Definitely. This was another edition of AEW that just did things right. The only issues that I had were in the ring, but that is mostly a style thing. I saw nothing great. I didn't really see anything great in the Matt Hardy match, and the stiltedness and errors of the Dark Order versus Janela and Kiss match weren't up to the standards set by the rest of the show. But even with that, there's just so much good that it's hard to complain about anything else. If you didn't think that tag match was one of the best of the year, go back and watch it again. Orange Cassidy, how they'd make his gimmick work in an actual storyline. Chris Jericho just did it. Let's not sneeze at the agility that Wardlow showed either. Good Lord, that guy can move. Another solid outing by AEW, solidifying one of the most high-quality weeks of wrestling in years. I mean, that tag team match, what else is there to say? I mean, that was an instant classic. I haven't seen any better in all my many years of, in all our 8-9 years of, doing this program. And then, of course, there was the Luchasaurus and Wardlow. I was actually a little off on my rating. I'm actually spiking that up to 3.5 stars because I thought that was a really good match as well. And that closing segment was far and away one of the best closing segments I've ever seen. You can make an argument for maybe the best closing segment in Dynamite history. That's how great that was. And it accomplished what it needed to. It got people excited. It got people talking about Jericho and Orange Cassidy and what we're going to see in a couple of weeks. Oh my. So there's nothing more to say. And if I was going to give a rating, MF, I wouldn't dilly-dally. I would actually pull the trigger and give it a solid 8 out of 10. That would be my rating. So really nothing more to say. Great show. Headlined by that awesome tag match. One of the best I've seen, one of the best we've seen in all our years covering this show. So nothing more to say. Michael Bullock, wrap it up, and then we'll get into your show, NXT.
Yeah, I thought it was a good show. I mean, it wasn't anything that great, but I still like some of the things I did see. I mean, some of the in-ring wrestling matches were not really impressive to me, but everything else tonight I thought was good. So yeah, I mean, there's really nothing more to say. I mean, you guys pretty much touched on everything. So Fletch, I say it's time to reset and talk about NXT now.
And we will indeed start with NXT, as it was Cameron Grimes going one-on-one with Damian Priest. Cameron Grimes wins the match in 3 minutes and 14 seconds. Okay, short match, and I think this is going to be the theme of NXT. Short matches, but logical bookings. This was a good. If this would have been given longer time, this could have been a really good match. But I think I understand why they did it. I understand why they ended it as quick as they did, because you want to give a lot of time and you want the emphasis to be on the main event. We all know that this was to be bookended by the North American title fight, so you want to give them everything they got. But you kind of punished the show by shorting up the time limits. This, for me, I can only give maybe 1.5 to 2. But again, you're going to hear a theme throughout this evening is that a lot of these matches were good, but never really got the ample time that they needed. They really kind of bookended the show way too much on one Pacific fight. But we'll get into that later. Anthony, it's yours.
Yes. I just want to address quickly that little botcheroo moment that I had, where you thought I was missing. Well, my machine here is running a little on the slow side this evening, and there are times where it freezes and the whole 9 yards, and I do apologize for any inconvenience with that. So, but then again, I mean, how many times has it happened to us on this show over the years? Too many to count, including tonight. But anyways, I agree with MF's sentiment here. I was disappointed. I mean, because honestly, going in, I thought this had sleeper fight potential here. I really did, but unfortunately, that didn't really happen. The way this was booked was a little strange. Damian Priest was attacked, but valiantly fought back, and it is the kind of spot WWE usually employs with a babyface. Priest has been a heel at his worst and a tweener at his best. So this may have been WWE's way of seeing how the WWE Universe reacts to him as an underdog for once. Grimes played the heel well, but overall this was a short bout that didn't show off enough of what makes either one of these superstars special. It told a story at the expense of a better bout. So that's all I can say on that. So 1.5 to 2, I agree with MF's ratings. So Michael Bullock, not really a good way to start off your show tonight.
Yeah, I guess you could say that that this was pretty much a reach when it comes to this match. I mean, yeah, I understand you're trying to do short matches. I mean, it's basically about the main event, but yeah, I think it pretty much killed the whatever we had from the show tonight. So there's really nothing more to add. Fletch, yours.
All right, and then we'll move right along to the next fight of the evening, which was the NXT Cruiserweight Champion of the World, Santos Escobar, along with his buddies Joaquin Wilde and Raul Mendoza, and he went up one-on-one in a non-title match against Jake Atlas, and the winner of the bout in 7 minutes and 7 seconds, the NXT Cruiserweight Champion of the World, Santos Escobar. Anthony Florio, pretty good fight in the 205 level.
Absolutely. 3 to 3.5 stars. This was a solid performance from two guys who made great impressions during the recent Cruiserweight Championship tournament. Atlas fighting behalf of Maverick might be the start of an alliance between the two men, but the group that everyone should be watching is the one headed by Escobar. Mendoza and Wilde are great allies who will help make Escobar look like a dominant champion. He hasn't been in NXT long, but he already feels like a regular fixture, and it'll be interesting to see if they clash with any other stables right away. So really nothing more to say on this. Great matchup here. I would probably say this was the second best fight of the night here. I'm going to give this between 3 to 3.5 stars. Made me very proud being the Cruiserweight guy here. So well done, gentlemen. Great effort. So nothing more to say. Michael Bullock, how them Cruiserweights look to you? They look great to me. Bullock, are you there?
Uh-oh.
I think we lost him.
All right. Well, that's okay. We're gonna have to.
Oh, there he is.
Oh, here we go.
We got him.
Yeah, I'm right here.
The Cruiserweight match.
Santos Escobar and Jake Atlas.
Yes, it is.
Correct.
And what was the time?
7:07.
Yeah, I thought it was a fine match in the amount of time it did get. I mean, I'll give it about 2, maybe 2.25, maybe 2.5. Yeah, I mean, you want to continue to build Santos Escobar as this dominant cruiserweight champion, obviously with his cohort. So, yeah, there's really nothing more to add. So, Fletch, I give it to you.
Guys, I have to cut in now because we do have some breaking news. We got some major problems here. Unfortunately, I think we're really going to have to keep a closer eye now on Jon Moxley more than ever before. This just came from Twitter, from Renee Young herself. It says, and I quote, "Man, what a few days. My show gets canceled." Talking to WWE backstage as they got basically they got cut by FS1, and I got COVID-19. Renee Young has tested positive for the coronavirus. Just breaking just now.
Yikes.
Yeah, so I mean, guys, this is serious because we all know that she's married to Dean Ambrose, to Jon Moxley. If she got it, you got to put 2 and 2 together, guys. I think the championship match is now in jeopardy. You have to think about it.
Yeah, Tony Khan's going to have to address this.
So, I mean, but we'll wait and see because, it was a separate incident. Renee has indeed tested positive for COVID-19. And now I guess we're going to have to wait and see. Jon Moxley did pull himself out of tonight's show, and now his wife has indeed tested positive. Now the question becomes, has Moxley got it? If Moxley tested positive, where does that stand the AEW World Title match? What happens next? So this just got real serious, and this has major ramifications as it pertains to next week, or I should say for July 8th now.
And you could also say we're not going to be seeing Renee Young on WWE TV for at least a couple of weeks.
Yes. But our thoughts and prayers are with Renee Young right now. We hope that she will be okay. We don't know the prognosis of COVID-19 because it depends. I mean, I've heard people who got it and never really developed the symptoms. I've heard people who developed the symptoms and really got sick. So I mean, this thing is really you don't know how or where or how you're going to get it if you do get it. But please be very careful, wear the mask, be aware of your surroundings wherever you are. This is another great story and a case in point, unfortunately for all of us, to hear this bad news just filter right through just minutes ago. Confirmed on Twitter just now. Renee Young, WWE personality and host of WWE Backstage, has indeed tested positive for the coronavirus. All right, so with that said, we're just going to move right along. A lot of segments after that. Then we had a tag team match. Katie Catanzaro and Kaden Carter, the KC Express, as they're now being known as. They went up against Dakota Kai and Raquel Gonzalez. When it was all said and done, Dakota Kai Raquel Gonzalez wins the match in 4 minutes and 13 seconds. And I believe, Michael Bullock, you lead off on this. So, Bullock, it's yours.
What was the time on that, Fletch?
4:13.
All right, I'll give it about maybe 1.5 for the effort, but obviously after the match, Dakota Kai, I think she's made her intentions clear. She's coming after Io Shirai and the NXT women's title, saying that, Io, you think this is your NXT? No, this is my NXT, and I'm coming for your title. So, and with Raquel Gonzalez in her corner, I don't know. I don't like Io Shirai's chances of retaining the title. But guys, I mean, and here's another thing I was thinking when seeing Raquel Gonzalez. Imagine if you go back a few years ago. Imagine if you had Raquel Gonzalez and the legendary Chyna at her prime. Could you imagine how that would be?
Yeah, that would be pretty amazing, pretty awesome. Yeah.
Two women with the similar strength that they have. Whew, if that had happened back then, I would have said sign me up for that. So that's pretty much all I got to say on that. What's yours?
I'm actually going to say something that I never ever thought I would ever say. And Michael Bullock, you might want to hear this. I think Raquel Gonzalez and Dakota Kai would absolutely be a great contender for the WWE Women's Tag Team titles. I really believe that out of all the NXT representatives, I think they would be the most logical and the most dangerous threat to any team on Raw and SmackDown right now, because you got the speed and the agility of Dakota Kai. You got the brute strength and the powerhouse nature of Raquel Gonzalez that, honestly, guys, I think I could see them as future WWE Women's Tag Team Champions. And I think if there's one team on NXT that could pull it off and win the titles, this is the team that can do it. To me, they are the most complete team that could absolutely become a major threat and could actually win the titles. They're on par with the Iconics. They're on par with the Boston Hug Connection. They're on par with Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross. I think right now they would be a legitimate threat for the women's tag team titles. And I'm shocked right now that Triple H or Mr. William Regal hasn't forced the women's tag team titles to be put up again, because you know that NXT wants the belts. They want to get it because the belt's been hot potatoed around between Raw and SmackDown, and NXT is like, hey, we're down here. Give us our opportunity. We got a team that could probably take the belts. You know, they gave him Tegan Nox and Shotzi Blackheart, and great match, solid performance. But we knew the titles, how the titles were going to play out. I'll tell you this: if Tegan Knox, if Dakota Kai and Raquel Gonzalez gets an opportunity at these belts, I would be very, very, very nervous. I'm openly going to say it. I'm scared. And yes, I'm going to do what Anthony Foyle loves me to do. I'm scared because I believe Raquel and Dakota can win the belts. They're that good. They're that dangerous. And they're the perfect combination. So, yeah, I'll give it 1.5, maybe 2. Anthony, it's yours.
Solid 2. The match was decent from a technical standpoint, but it was very paint by numbers. You could tell what would happen 3 moves ahead of time. Canton, Zaro, and Carter are a good tag team, and it would be great to see them get a shot at the women's tag team titles at some point if they built some momentum. Kai continues to shine as a heel alongside her enforcer, but this union won't last forever. It won't be long before Gonzalez is tired of doing somebody else's dirty work and starts looking for her own opportunities down the line. But that's a very bold statement by MF there. I don't know if that'll come to fruition anytime soon, but if it does, we'll always remember this night where MF made the proclamation. So we'll just have to wait and see on this. So, but Dakota Kai, I mean, she's got a big opportunity of her own next week. Next week, Dakota Kai, along with Candice LeRae, Tegan Knox, and Mia Yim, they're going to be in a fatal 4-way match, and the winner of that match will be the first challenger for Io Shirai in her newly won NXT Women's Championship as part of a very special edition of NXT. And if you're an old school professional wrestling fan like all 3 of us are, when you heard what this show's being called,
Yes.
You're marking.
Yes.
We'll address that at the end of the show.
At the end of the show. Okay. So
nothing more to say on that. 2 stars. MF, let's move on.
All right. Next thing that we had was a one-on-one match. It was Karrion Kross versus Bronson Reed. Kross wins the match in 2 minutes and 22 seconds via submission. Anthony, this was built as a major Be a Man fight. We had our moments, but the match was way too short.
Criminally short. You're absolutely right. As a match, this was short and predictable, but as a way to get crossover, it worked perfectly. Reed is big enough to make Kross the smaller competitor for once, but not so big that Kross can't throw him around. Even though this bout could have been longer and allowed both men to show off their skills, it wouldn't have been as effective at making Kross look like a monster. Reed is a good hand. Hopefully he gets a push soon so he can show the world what he is capable of. So that's all I can say on this. It's going to have to be a no rating on this for me, I'm sorry to say. So Michael Bullock, Bronson Reed, the latest victim of Karrion Kross. In our immortal words, next victim.
Yeah, he was indeed the next victim, and yeah, I'm with you, Borio. I'm gonna have to give this a no rating as well. So, yeah, and now the thing is, could Karrion Kross could have something big in his sights in the future? We'll just have to wait and see. What's yours?
Yeah, and now we're gonna move right along. We had Rhea Ripley versus Aaliyah. Rhea Ripley wins the match in 3 minutes and 8 seconds. Mike Bullock, you don't really have to talk about that. Then we had Dexter Lumis versus Roderick Strong. Dexter Lumis won by countout, automatic. There's really no rating on that either. So that leads us right into, like Anthony said, there was that. Then there's going to be a strap match between Dexter Lumis and Roderick Strong next week. And of course, that's going to be a part of NXT's Great American Bash. That's right. They're bringing back the Great American Bash next week. And guys, here it is. The moment we waited for, the main event of the evening, the NXT North American title on the line. The champion, Keith Lee, versus Finn Balor and Johnny Gargano triple threat match. The winner will move on to fight Adam Cole, title for title, the NXT Ultimate Challenge, winner take all on July 8th. The winner of the match and advancing to July 8th to fight for the titles, bask in the glory of Keith Lee. He successfully defends the NXT North American title. He now faces Adam Cole to possibly unify both belts. Michael Bullock, you're Mr. NXT. You get to lead off on the main event of the evening.
And what was the time of the fall?
12 minutes and 26 seconds.
You said 12 minutes and 26 seconds?
Yep.
All right. Well, this was definitely the fight of the night here. I'll give it about 3.5 stars, maybe 3 3/4. But man, this was a good match here. Yeah, I mean, I think Keith Lee going over was the right move here. I mean, Keith Lee has been looking for this opportunity for a long time since joining NXT, and they're really trying to push this guy. And yeah, now he's got a bigger opportunity come 2 weeks from now, where he has a chance to become a double champion, where he could not only still be the NXT North American champion, but the NXT champion. So I cannot wait to see what goes down in 2 weeks' time. But here's the thing, in 2 weeks. I mean, I want to say it's a good match, but I smell something when it comes to this. I don't think it's going to be a clean finish. And you want to know why?
Undisputed Era, Johnny Gargano,
No, it's neither one of those two.
Karrion
Who else
Kross.
has? Yes. Because remember, he's targeting Adam Cole as well, especially after what Scarlett Bordeaux did 2 weeks ago. So,
Oh, and Keith Lee broke the hourglass.
yeah, we can't forget about that too. So,
Oh, that would be WWE or TNA like booking. I hope they don't pull that.
Yeah, that
would go nuts.
That's why I'm fearing, Fletch. It's not going to be a clean finish. As a matter of fact, I'll even go as far as to say it's going to be a no contest.
You think the fight? Oh, wow. He thinks the fight's going to get thrown out. It could.
Yeah, because of those various reasons. Adam Cole being targeted by him and what Keith Lee did to that hourglass. I hope I'm wrong, but I just get this funny feeling about it. So, nothing more to say. Fletch, it's yours.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right, and you bring up a very, very, very valid point. That's something that we all got to keep a very close eye on. It was a good match. It was a very good main event. 3.5 stars. Fight of the night. Will easily give you that honor. And I don't know, guys. I'm really starting to worry a little bit about that, but we'll wait and see how it goes. And no, I think it was good. I thought they did really well. I think the decision to give Keith Lee the win and give him the opportunity at the title was the right decision. So there's really nothing more to add. So Anthony Florio, give me your thoughts on the main event. If you want to talk about Michael Bullock's theory, you're more than welcome to go.
I don't even want to think about that theory. I really don't. I didn't even think about that theory because I marked when Keith Lee won because this was the match that I wanted. But then again, I think all of us wanted this match, honestly. But getting to this, though, fight of the night, hands down, agree. 3.5 to 3 3/4 of a star. Balor and Gargano have similar styles, but Keith Lee brought something different to the table that allowed them to come up with some interesting spots. Most powerhouses would be at a disadvantage when it comes to speed and agility against two guys like Johnny Wrestling and the Prince. But Lee is no normal big man. He is a 5-tool player. When you put 3 performers of this caliber in the ring together, the chances of them having a bad match are slim to none. However, something kept this from being the match of the year candidate it could have been. Maybe having 2 commercial breaks hurt the flow a bit. Regardless, this was a fun main event that sets up Adam Cole versus Keith Lee in the winner-take-all match for the NXT Championship and the North American Championship in 2 weeks' time, as it will go head-to-head with Night 2 of AEW's Fyter Fest. And all I can say is let the games begin, gentlemen. And, I mean, what else is there to say? Oh, Bullock, I mean, I got to tell you, man, I mean, a moment ago, I was so freaking hyped for this match, and now you planted those seeds of doubt in me.
Yeah. Yeah. Same with me.
I hope I'm wrong, but like I said, I hope I'm wrong, but I just got this funny feeling about it.
I understand where you're coming from. I mean, there's a very realistic possibility that could happen, but with the way that Keith Lee has been built up all these months, I still have this feeling in my gut. My gut is still telling me that Keith Lee is going to make history next week, and he is going to be the man who will to finally end the over year-long run of Adam Cole as NXT champion. But we'll have to wait and see on it. But you know what? I'm not going to let Bullock's little conspiracy theory get in the way of this. I mean, I'm still excited about the match. I'm most certainly going to have a vested interest, although it's going to be very tough considering that we got Fyter Fest on the other side. So we'll have to wait and see. But I still got a good feeling that that match is going to be insane. So NXT doing what NXT does best, giving us fresh matches, unlike on the main roster where we get, repetitive. And that's mostly on Monday Night Raw. But NXT is not Monday Night Raw. They give us fresh matches, and oh boy, 2 weeks from now, can't get here fast enough. I can't wait. So 3.5, 3 3/4, fight of the night, hands down, no doubt about it. So although there was only one other good match on this show, all the other matches were, just all right for me. So really nothing more to say. MF, let's get into our overall review.
Yeah, absolutely. Guys, there's really nothing more to add. So I believe it starts off with, you know what? I'm going to say this was okay. It wasn't the strongest way to close the show. But look, they gave us what we wanted. We wanted a resolution. We wanted an outcome. We got it. We got the outcome. They gave us the match that we wanted. And that was that at the end, we crowned. Now we have a team that is now battling for the title, and that is Keith Lee versus Adam Cole. That's what we wanted all along, and they could have done better, but they bookended it, and it was good for what it was worth. So nothing more to say. So it was. I gotta say, AEW won it this week. I think they were definitely the better show, and Anthony, it's all yours.
Definitely. I 100% agree with that sentiment. NXT realistically was only a 2-match show. I mean, we only had 2 quality matches on this show. Of course, this was. You know what? I'm gonna go old school here. I'm gonna say that this was a marathon show, because like those marathon WrestleManias back in the day, where we had all these filler matches that we had to go through just to get to the big match or the big moment, and that's exactly what this was. I mean, yes, we did have one other good match, and that was that great cruiserweight matchup with Santos Escobar and Atlas, but other than that, I mean, the main event, of course, did what it had to do. It delivered. I mean, we're not at all surprised by that sentiment there, and I cannot wait to see what happens in 2 weeks when Adam Cole and Keith Lee battle it out for the NXT title and the North American title. And I still have a good feeling about the match, regardless of Michael Bullock's conspiracy theory. But we'll just have to wait and see on it. But the rest of the roster was used efficiently again, though this show was very short on in-ring minutes minus the main event. The other 6 matches combined for just 25 minutes as other contenders took baby steps toward their next major programs. With a big show already planned for July 8th, the offhand announcement that next week's show would be the Great American Bash was completely out of nowhere, though given it is 3 days before July 4. I guess now would be the time, and it's meant to be a counter program to Fyter Fest. Vince McMahon, who ran the first Survivor Series opposite Starrcade, is still alive and well. Tonight's show was solid, though I wouldn't point to any single thing that's absolutely must-see except for the main event and the Cruiserweight match, as that's being saved for the next 2 weeks. So, really nothing more to say. Maybe about 6.5. I think would be the correct rating for this if I were to give a rating, but that's not really what we do considering the circumstances. So, nothing more to say. Mr. NXT, Michael Bullock, take us home.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, if we were doing a rating, I would give it a 6 out of 10. I mean, it was all right. I mean, it really wasn't that much to write home about. I mean, the 2 matches, I mean, obviously the main event was one of the highlights. I mean, everything else was just there. So, yeah, there's really nothing more to say. Let's wrap it up.
All right, and we will indeed wrap it up. So, guys, we got some major news that I am very, very, very pleased to announce. So, first off, I want to say that on Friday night, as always, we'll do another edition of the Cerebral Smack Talk. On that night, we will talk about SmackDown Live, and in my Mikey's mindset, I will continue on the road to the New Japan Cup. The tournament's been going on. I will give you some of the new updates and tell you where the bracket stands as we're going through the tournament. Then, guys, you guys been waiting and you've been begging, pleading. When is Strictly Sports coming back? When is Strictly Sports coming back? When is it coming back? All right. We finally sat at the table. Now that all the sports are coming back, we are going to do this. On Thursday night, July 23rd, we're going to do our Major League Baseball preview show. That's right. July 23rd is going to be the setup. Then after that, we will have the Stanley Cup playoff preview. And then on August 13th, we're going to do the NBA preview because of the fact that on August 13th, that's the start of the NBA playoffs. The Stanley Cup will start the next week. That will be on July 30th. And of course, for the first time, and as always, because the New York Rangers are going to be in the Stanley Cup playoffs, that means the Ranger Roundup is coming back. But we also are going to do something special for Michael Bullock and for him only. We are also going to do a Boston Bruin recap show. I will host it with Mike Bullock, and we're going to be talking about his beloved Bruins and see how they go in their road to the Stanley Cup. Now, if Anthony Floyd wants to come in and join on that, he is more than welcome to. But we will try to do something for the Bruins as well, because I know a lot of people are like, hey, wait a minute. You got a Boston Bruin member on your panel. Why don't you show love for the Bruins? Okay. Message understood, and I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna honor the Bruins for you guys too. So the Bruins are gonna get some love in the building. So we're gonna do that. Nothing more to say. And yeah, we got that. So okay, so for Anthony Foyo, for Michael Bullock, I am Michael Fletcher. So long, everybody, and we'll see you guys on Friday.